Do you know what's common between your Instagram story bubble, this basketball, and your math grade if you skip this video? They're all spheres. And in this video, we dive deep into spheres, tackle all the board exam questions, and crack every formula. Let's begin.
First, you got to figure out a way as to how to remember this formula list. Because end of the day, what's the whole point if you know the concept but forget the formula? If you see here, this, as you guys know, this video talks only about spheres, but the most important concepts from this specific unit called as mensuration will always be based on a mixture kind of questions. What do I mean by that? A sphere, a cone, a sphere, a cylinder, a cylinder, a sphere, a cylinder and a cone. So these kind of mixture questions is what will be asked. Obviously, I will also be making a video on that, but for today's video, let's stick on only to spheres. This is also important, but that is more important. Now, let's try to understand as to what kind of hints are useful to remember this. First one, sphere. I'll tell you how I used to do this. Wherever volume is there, 100% there has to be a cube. If you guys actually recall, whenever we use the word length, it's something meters or millimeters or centimeters. Wherever we use the word area, it's meter square, centimeter square, millimeter square. But all those places wherever volume is being used, it is usually cubes. So that's your first hint. Where if volume is there on the left hand side, 100% your RHS has to have a cube, at least when it comes to spheres. Okay, so R cube was there. Pi everybody will remember. Now, how to remember the 4 by 3? Listen up. As you guys already know, circle is a 2D figure. The 3D figure of a circle is a sphere. What dimension? 3 dimension. Therefore, the number 3 has to be involved. Now, how to remember the 4? How many directions are there, man? North, east, west and south. That's the 4 main directions. So, if you look at a ball, the front side, the back side, the right as well as the left. In simple language, north, south, east and west, all the 4 directions have been covered. Therefore, 4, 3 because it is 3 dimensions, pi obvious, R cube because wherever volume is there, cube has to follow. We'll try to remember a similar hint for the CSA also. CSA's first meaning is curved surface area. Curved surface area, I'll tell you how I used to remember. Don't you think pi r square is an area of a circle? Correct. So sphere and circle are 2D and 3D figures. So you write the area of the circles. Again, how many directions is a circle required to convert itself into a sphere? 4 directions. So we multiply the number by 4. Getting it? Now, why isn't the 3 involved? Simple. Because volume was missing on the left hand side. Instead of volume, what was there? Area was there. Therefore, it is r square and not r cube. This is for a full sphere. Now, spherical shell. Spherical shell. Obviously, wherever a shell is involved, there will be 2 layers of sphere being involved. One is the outer layer, one is the inner layer. Outer layer, inner layer is nothing but the bigger sphere as well as the smaller sphere. A lot of examples are there. But how to remember hemisphere? Hemisphere is nothing but a semicircle. Getting it? When you learn a circle, how do you remember for a semicircle? Half of it. Same concept. When you learn a sphere, learning the hemisphere is very simple because you take the same formulae and cut it in half. So, write the formula for sphere into half. Write the formula for CSA into half. That's it. Now, what is TSA? What's the main difference between CSA and TSA? Curved surface is only talking about the curved part of it, as you guys can see here. This curve here. Okay, this bulge here. Fine. Total surface meaning, think for a second. We're going to talk about this bulge here as well as the top. If you take a bowl, the bowl has a bulge there and top of it you also have an option of covering it. A lot of people use these kind of bowls for microwave stuff. Getting it? For baking or forget about baking, just to heat something up. So this bowl also has a concept of a cap. Now the cap is in what shape? It's a circle. Or one more way of looking at it is place a bowl on the table, look at the bowl from a top view. So obviously you can only see a circle. Getting it? So to cover the top, it requires a circle. The complete concept here will be called as total surface area. So the bulge is curved surface, the total concept is total surface. So let's look at this. If you look at the formula also here, it says total surface is equal to the bulge surface, also called as the curved surface, plus area of one circle. Why is that area of one circle? Because when you look at the bowl from top, you can see one circle. Getting it? So therefore, you write area of one circle. Curved surface area's formula is what? 2 pi r square. Don't get confused. This is 4, this is 2. Why 2? Half of 4 is 2. Simple. Getting it? Plus pi r square, everybody knows. So we simplify that and then we start off. The only concept to remember is TSA and CSA can never be the same. TSA involves the complete figure including all the aspects. Curved surface, I only talk about the bulging part. That's it. Now obviously as you guys can see here, Just like the way I showed the ball, this is how a sphere looks like. So can this also will have radius? 100%. No. So this distance will be the radius. That's the reason I wanted to talk about that. Now let's start off with the first question. It says 8 metallic spheres, each of whatever, is melted and cast. Guys, melted and recast questions are very simple and will be asked. Now what happens is, just by the unit called as mensuration, a lot of people will start ignoring it and will start regretting it during your board exams. See, the only thing which I would tell you is, do not skip this. At least have an idea of it, because end of the day, having no regrets is all that really wants. So let's begin. Into a single sphere. Now, 8 metallic spheres. Calculate the radius of the new sphere. Very simple. New sphere will be equal to, 8 into 4 by 3 pi r cube. Why am I multiplying it by 8? Because they're telling me in order to make it a new sphere, I'm supposed to have 8 there. That's the reason. Okay. Now, what and all has to be there? What and all has to be done first of all? They're asking me calculate what? The radius of the new sphere. If you look at the board here, I use the new sphere only on my left hand side. Just because I've used that phrase, I'll try to use a different r altogether. It will be 4 by 3 pi caps r cube is equal to 8 into 4 by 3 pi lowercase r cube. Now what's this r? The one is given to me as 2 mm. What is this r? The one which I'm supposed to find. Now what's the advantage of writing it like this? This is the advantage. Life becomes much more simpler. Okay. Now I'm supposed to find r cube. So it will be 8 into 2 cube. 2 cube is anyways 8. Fine. So r cube will be equal to 64. I'm using my calculator. You guys should not. That's a obviously thing. R cube equals 8. Sorry, my bad. 64, which means r will be equal to cube root of 64. R equals 4. Copy the same unit, mm. Correct? Next. The volume of one sphere, again, this video there are only 4 types of questions because it's a pure sphere topic. That's why. They're asking the volume of one sphere is 27 times the volume of another sphere. Calculate the ratio. Okay, the word ratio is very important here. And there are 2 sub questions. Now what do? Very simple. Just like the previous concept, we'll start off with the first one. The volume of, there are 2 things being involved here. One sphere and another sphere. They've never used the word bigger sphere or a smaller sphere. So what I'll do, I'll write like this. 4 by 3 pi r 1 cube, first sphere, equals 27 times 4 by 3 pi r 2 cube. That's it. So I use 2 different denotations for r. Now obviously what gets cancelled? 4 by 3 pi as well as pi. Bring all the r's to one side. It's important for us to do that because I'm supposed to find the ratio. Ratio meaning something is to something. Both of them have to be on the same side. So what do? It will be r1 by r2 the whole cube equals 27. There's nothing on the denominator, which means by automatically 1. There's a cube on the left side, there's no cube on the right side. Think of a way to convert the RHS into some kind of cube. What cube is 20? What cube is 27? 3 cube. So the answer will be r1 by r2 will be equal to 3:1. That's your first answer. Getting it? Now, let me check that answer. Yeah. Next is curved surface area. Guys, now don't get confused. If only surface area has been asked and it's only a sphere, you should not even think twice, it's only curved surface area. Because in a sphere, there's no opening only, no? It's completely covered, obviously. So what's happening here? We talk about the curved surface area. Now what are they asking? They're asking the ratio here. You gotta be careful. They're asking me CSA1 by CSA2. Now what's the formula? So 4 pi r1 square by 4 pi r2 square. See, I know that you guys are smart and you will, if you only write r1 square by r2 square, it's technically right. But they'll cut marks telling you haven't mentioned the complete formula. That's a problem. So what do? You mention that and then only you cancel off the whatever is possible. Do we know R1 is to R2? See, I'll simplify it for right now. I'll write it as R1 is to R2 the whole square. Both are the same. The good thing is I know the value of R1 is to R2. What is it? 3:1. If you square 3:1, the answer is going to become 9:1. This is exactly the pattern what they're expecting you guys to present your answers in. Because it says the word ratio. That's it. Next type. Third type. They're asking the internal and external diameter of a hollow hemisphere. Careful, hollow hemisphere. Best example is a bowl. because until and unless you guys fill something into a bowl, it's hollow. Getting it? Vessel obviously are 21 centimeters and 28 centimeters respectively. Okay, cool. Find the internal CSA, external CSA, whatever. Fine. Internal CSA, first one. Again, hemisphere. It will be half of it. So I'll write half of what? The volume of a complete sphere. 4 by 3 pi r cube. Can I write R1 here? R1 meaning the internal one, the low one. R2 meaning the external one. We'll do that. Fine. Guys, the basic thing is, gotta remember one thing. In a bowl, okay, they're talking about two different shells, the inner shell as well as the outer shell. 100% there'll be thickness involved there. Getting it? You talk about the phone also. Look at both the sides. 100% there's some kind of thickness here. So if I'm trying to calculate the total surface area of the phone, I should also consider the thickness of it. Same concept here. Even though you're seeing a circle, the circle has some amount of thickness, and that circle from top looks like a ring. Getting it? So gotta remember that as to find TSA, I'm supposed to find the internal, I'm supposed to find the external, all those things are fine, but also talk about the ring there. Okay, circular ring it's called as. We'll figure that out, no worries. 1 by 2, so 2 and 2 gets cancelled. So I'll write this, it will be 2 by 3, pi as it is. Diameter is given to us, so half of 21. I'll write 21 by 2 cube. So you guys solve this, it will be 693 centimeter square. Got it? Next. To find external, it will be 2 pi, 28 by 2 is 14. So it will be 2 pi by 3 into 14 cube. I'll solve this. It will be 1232 centimeter cube. Now, to find TSA, as I told you, TSA requires 3 parts. What are 3 parts? I require curved surface area 1, which I know. Curved surface area 2, which I already know. Plus the circular ring. Which means I'm supposed to find the thing of the circular ring. Now, obviously, ring, as they say, is circular ring, no? So, finding it is actually very simple. What's the hint? Circle. Circle's area is pi r square. I'll do the same thing. I'll write pi r square minus r square. Why? External minus internal, no? That's why. So it will be pi into, I'll solve it directly. It will be 14 square minus 10.5 square. Now, don't get confused as to how to solve this because you obviously don't have calci. You can use a square minus b square form and get the answer. Because I have the calci, I'm not doing it. I'll write the answer directly. So it will be 269.5 centimeter square. But this is not your final answer. To find TSA, I'm supposed to add everything, just like the way I wrote it here. Okay? Now, okay, fine. I know the value of CSA1, 693. CSA2 is 1232. Plus circular ring I just now found. 269.5. I'll add everything and my answer is adding up to 2194.5. That's how it is. Okay. Now, obviously, there was a fourth sub question also which spoke about finding the volume. Okay. Volume shouldn't be a big matter here because volume is given by 2 pi by 3 pi r cube. Now, which r to use? Supposed to use both, which means you find r cube minus r cube. Do you know the value of both the r's? Obviously, you will get the answer. So it will be, this substitute, it will be 3323.33 centimeter cube. Fine. Obviously, the calculations are kind of difficult. Can't help with that. Last question. Metallic spheres of radii, whatever. Again, recast into a single solid sphere. This is a very nice question. Okay. It's a metallic sphere, not a hemisphere. Taking the value as 3.1. Wherever the value of pi is given to as 3.1, you're supposed to follow their instructions. That's a rule. Or else you'll end up wasting a lot of time. That's how it works. Find the surface area is what I'm supposed to do. Finding the surface area is I'm supposed to use it's a sphere. So 4 pi r square I'm supposed to use. But the problem is I'm supposed to find the surface area of the new sphere. Getting it? Now how do you do that? new sphere will be equal to sphere 1 plus sphere 2 plus sphere 3. That's how it works. Okay. Now wherever melted and recast question is being asked, obviously volume only will be involved. So I'll write it like this. 4 by 3 pi caps r cube will be equal to 4 by 3 pi. I'll take common. Careful. Smartness here. r1 cube plus r2 cube plus r3 cube. That's it. Now we know the left hand side. Okay, now what gets cancelled? R cube I don't know. That's exactly what I'm supposed to find. Because once I find the caps R cube, I'll be able to find the surface area. Now to find that, it requires me to add up R1 cube plus R2 cube plus R3 cube. Everything is given to me there. So it will be 6 cube plus 8 cube plus 10 cube. Okay, there's a hint for this. If your RHS is 6, 8, 10, it's a common difference there. After 6, 8 comes, even number. After 10, 8, after 8, 10 comes. After 10, what comes? 12. So left hand side, the answer will be 12. Directly you can write. That's it. 6, 8, 10, 12. Now we found the value for R. I'll use this R to find the surface area. It's a sphere, obviously, keep that in mind. So sphere, surface area. Now what surface area they're asking about? Obviously curve, because hemisphere only, total surface area comes into picture. Curve, the curve surface area talks only about your sphere. So it will be 4 pi, careful, area it is. So it will be R square. 4 as it is. They asked me to take the value of pi as 3.1. Careful, I'm doing it. R's value is 12. 12 square. You guys do the math. I'll use the calci. 1785. Board exams are around the corner and a lot of people will start cribbing just how fast the night changes. But if you subscribe to the channel, you need not be afraid even when the night changes.